Wow, I'm really happy to be back here.
You know, we tried a different location last time, and it was fine, but this one's really where it's at.
It wasn't this.
It wasn't this. The Adirondack chairs are really for us. Back in the backyard, back talking about F1. I don't know why I feel like it's been a really long time since we recorded one of these, but it's only been a week. It's always only been a week, but
I think because last week Riley was here, there was just a lot going on and it wasn't a traditional because we had her on as a guest
yeah,
host. And so I think it just didn't feel like our normal
didn't feel like a
chat.
podcast episode, really.
So
I don't
this
know.
week we're back on our bullshit.
Back on our bullshit, back in the chairs, back in the backyard.
It's where we belong, honestly.
Like, yeah.
And you know what? I think I was worried about this week. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, I don't know what we're gonna talk about. We didn't
There's
have a
not really, yeah, I was like, there's not really a lot, but then every time we think that there's not a lot to talk about, surprise, bitch, there's a lot
But
to talk
this
about.
week, actually, there is so much to talk about because we have had a thought leadership competition. And by thought leadership, I mean that hoe over there leadership. Thoughty.
What are you saying? I'm like, trying to follow this
Okay.
train of thought, and like I want to be in on the joke and be able to like make this funnier than it is, but like I have literally no idea what you're saying.
Driver thirst trap week of From Hell for us.
Okay,
Thought leadership.
that I was not connecting.
Okay.
Was this is
Thought
like when you try to do,
THOT, that hoe over there, leadership.
I'm there now. I'm there now. I'm sorry. This is like when you like try to do a transition.
Whatever. But it's been a busy week for the
It has
boys.
been a busy week for the boys. We actually also had some real mental thought leadership from our friend Lily
Yes.
that we'll be discussing. A phenomenal piece of journalism. If you're watching this on YouTube right now and you see us just swatting the air, the bugs are
There's some
so
bugs.
bad right now. But we love the outdoors so much that we're gonna brave it.
Like we said the last time, it's just a I don't remember what I was gonna say. It doesn't matter.
Today. Did you put alcohol in that smoothie you're drinking? Like, what's happening?
My brain is broken today. It's because I don't have a job, so I just like I
You're
don't.
losing your cognitive abilities because you're not critically
I
thinking.
literally was like, I told you yesterday. I didn't know what day it was yesterday. Also, the woman who checked us out at Trader Joe's today was like, "Happy Monday," and I was like, "Is it Monday? What day
Bitch,
is it?"
it's Wednesday. That girl needs help.
Well, to be fair, she was like, also, she's like, I don't even know why I said Monday because technically it's my Friday because I'm done with, it's my weekend.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
like, we're all doing great.
It's a day. It's a day of the week, and that's all that matters. Anyways, this is TGNF, an F1 podcast with Kate and Nicole.
Thanks for sticking by us.
Thanks for tuning in. My name's Kate.
I'm Nicole.
This is our show. We're your hosts. It's going to be a wild ride, as always. But we do have things to talk about, so let's do it.
Okay, first things first.
Tell me.
Apparently, Helmut Marko has said, AlphaTauri, new name, new sponsors next year. They're no longer going to be kind of a B team. So
well, they still are. They haven't been a B team. They're a sister team,
allegedly.
So AlphaTauri is no. So what? Going to go back to Toro Rosso?
No. So basically, what Helmut Marko was saying is they're going to try and follow. He's like, Red Bull's doing it right. Like, build your own. Like, pave your own way. Don't just copy what someone else is doing and like take what Red Bull is doing. So I don't know if they're just gonna like. I mean, it's gonna still be sponsored by Red Bull, like obviously, but they're essentially kind of separating it, and I think it's just gonna be like two Red Bull teams in the game. You know how kind of like Toto owns Mercedes and also a stake in Williams. Like I think it's gonna be similar to that, where Red Bull is like the owner of the team, but the sponsorships are gonna change. So
what if it just becomes Red Bull 2? They just say new name. We're actually Red Bull 2 now, and it's like Mark.
But it's the Mark Jacobs.
Yeah. Mark Jacobs, like
Mark Jacobs,
marked by Mark Jacobs, founded by Mark Jacobs, produced by Mark Jacobs. That's gonna be Bull by Red Bull, a Red Bull B team, owned by Red Bull, operated by Red Bull, in association with Red Bull.
I just am like, so they basically said, all right, new sponsors, new team name. So my question for you and for our listeners, who are some of our dream sponsors
Oh my
for the
god.
new AlphaTauri team?
I mean, I obviously want it to be the Oscar Mayer team. Like this is
Always.
this is our chance. This is our chance. Oscar Mayer, if you're listening, Mr. Meyer.
Is it okay if we call you that?
Mr. Meyer, can I call you Mr. Meyer?
Oscar?
Can I call you Oscar. If you're listening, I'm addressing the camera right now. If you're watching this, this is your opportunity, investors.
If you had one shot,
Actually, you sponsor the new AlphaTauri team, Oscar Mayer F1. I think it could be a winner. It could be a wiener.
wiener. Wiener, chicken dinner.
Fully loaded.
And you know what? It's kind of making me think of the you know how the Bills have that tradition of someone gets doused in like ketchup and mustard before every game. Did you know
No.
about this? Okay, this is some weird tradition
No.
that the Buffalo Bills
Do you know this because
football
of Danny?
team. No, I knew this before Danny. Please, please, just because Danny likes things doesn't mean that I can't also like them before him. Not that I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, but as a football fan.
Okay, anyways.
So I just am imagining a scenario in which also Heinz is the title sponsor instead of a champagne company, and they
Dead.
just douse each other in ketchup and
It's
mustard
like getting
instead.
slimed. Slime time live, but you just get doused in ketchup and mustard and maybe mayo.
Maybe mayo. If actually it's the first place.
First place is ketchup, second place is mustard, third place is mayo. But if I had to rank those three condiments
Yeah.
on a podium,
Like in terms of like which
what I like best.
Okay. Or not so based on what you would want to be doused
Not what
in.
I would want to be doused in,
Okay.
just my personal podium of
Yeah, okay.
condiments would be mayo, ketchup, mustard.
Yeah, same.
Actually, and I would 86 mustard sub relish.
No, you can't.
But Heinz makes relish too.
I guess.
So I'm taking
Ew,
mustard
then I'm
out
putting
of the lineup.
chipotle aioli on there.
Heinz doesn't make chipotle aioli.
Yes, they do.
Do they?
They make everything now. They
That's
make
true.
like everything.
That's true. Yeah, what is your podium though of the
Same.
main three?
Same. Yeah.
Mayo,
Mhm.
ketchup, mustard. I hate mustard, so
I don't hate mustard, but
I don't like it.
it's not my favorite.
I don't like it. Love mayo. Mayo and everything. The
Okay.
people that don't like mayo, I don't understand.
Other than
Sorry.
Heinz and Oscar Mayer, who else do we think would be a dream sponsor to get in?
Dream sponsor. Us, obviously.
Yeah, you guys want to be
You guys
Team
know.
TG1F?
I mean, I just feel like it's been building to this. It's been building to Martin Garrix owning a team.
It only makes sense.
It only makes sense. Martin Garrix and Salt Bay are teaming up. It's the Nurse
That's
Ed.
a cursed team.
It's the Nurse Ed, Team Nurse Ed. Isn't that his name?
Nurse Ed. I was like, who the
Isn't
fuck?
that his name?
Yes,
Nurse
I
Ed?
was like, who the fuck is Nurse Ed? Is this another DJ?
DJ Nurse Ed. It's Team Nurse Ed F1 team, and it's gonna look like a salt shaker.
I think also it's hypothetically if we were to still have Yuki and Nick DeVries on the team next year, some sort of high chair company or step stool company could be a title sponsor for our Short Kings.
That's so rude of you. I'm telling Yuki you said that.
Okay.
Yuki will hear about this. Okay, but I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit because they're speaking of this of Alpine. There is a rumor that one Daniel Ricciardo
You mean
may
AlphaTauri?
be on AlphaTauri. Yes. What did I say?
Alpine.
We're not there
There's
yet.
also news about
There's
Alpine.
also news about Alpine, but we're not there yet. But AlphaTauri, we've heard this rumor before. It was kind of shut down, but it's renewed that Danny might be going to AlphaTauri in place of Nick DeVries. And so, what?
Because Helmut Marko allegedly quoted saying Christian Horner was fearful or hesitant about Nick DeVries, and he was right. So, if Helmut's not really feeling good about you, and Christian's not feeling good about you, I'm not feeling good about
You're out.
I'm not feeling good about your position.
But if Danny comes in, could we see it being Team Optus because he already has that big sponsor?
True.
I feel like they are huge Danny guys, and so that could be something.
Yeah, who would be the perfect sponsor for Danny? It's just St. Hugo Wines, actually.
It's Enchante. It's just an Enchante car, and it changes for every one of his 97 merch drops a year.
I love that.
What do you want? I'm the idea factory over here. You haven't even brought one up.
I said step stools, and you said
Nope.
Yuki will hear about this.
Yeah, I already blocked that out of my brain because it was rude.
Thinking about who I would want to get into F1 sponsorships, I think on the lines of Oscar Mayer, I would like to see more food companies.
100%.
Like I would love. How about this?
Tell me.
McDonald's title sponsorship,
Okay.
and they make the livery look like the Hamburglar getaway car.
Genius. Genius.
Or like I'm just trying to think, like I feel like there's an opportunity for like fast food to get into, like a fast food company whose whole thing is about being fast.
Yeah.
And like
GoPuff is the McLaren
Mhm.
sponsor.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've kind of leaned into that a little bit.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Yeah. I just think there's room there and we're not exploring that enough.
Oh my god, what if it's Neat Burger?
Slutty vegans?
Lewis's
What was that sign you took a photo of in
yeah,
Houston?
slutty vegan. But what if it's Lewis's company? That could be fun. And Lewis just jumps.
And he just becomes
He's actually leaving because he's investing.
Oh,
I got bug bite in my nose.
no way.
Ow, it hurts.
We're doing so great today.
I'm not kidding. The bugs are.
Should we go
killing me.
inside?
No,
Okay.
it's too nice out.
Okay, enough about AlphaTauri.
I'm sick of them.
But still kind of speaking about AlphaTauri, because one of the best videos to come out of content creation this week was Yuki and Max driving monster trucks.
Literally so true. Literally so true.
It was so chaotic and
Oh wait, we have one more piece of bigger F1 news.
What?
Alpine.
Oh yeah.
We said we were gonna get there. We
Right.
just didn't get there, guys.
Should we
on
just
a
start
roll.
over?
No, we're doing fine. We're doing fine. So Alpine,
Yes.
big news this week. Alpine has a big investment.
Mhm.
What is it? 200 million? Billion?
I have no idea. I just know it was a 24% stake.
Yes, in the company, and the group that bought it includes Ryan Reynolds,
Mhm.
Rob McElhenney,
Mhm.
and Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, huge. People keep leaving him out, and I'm
People
like,
keep leaving him out. First of all, a bone to pick with F1 as a whole in their social media team, because they just put down Ryan Reynolds and they
Right.
left out Rob McElhenney, and I was like,
Rude.
okay, whoa, let's
rude.
pause, rewind,
Yes.
hit play.
Take it from
I
the
feel
top.
really bad because Rob is usually the one that comes up with these ideas. Like, he's the one that called Ryan to be like, we should buy Wrexham. It was his idea, and he doesn't get any of the credit because he's not as big of a star.
Yeah.
And I feel upset about that because It's Always Sunny is maybe one of the best shows of all time.
100%.
I would argue
The gang gets into F1.
the gang goes racing.
The gang goes racing.
And I would argue that It's Always Sunny is better than anything that Ryan Reynolds has been in, collectively.
Now, I'd like to pose this thought experiment for you.
What? I'm nervous.
Who on the grid
Okay.
is each member
Of the gang.
of the gang?
Gunther is Frank.
Okay.
Gunther's Frank. I won't be explaining more.
Mhm.
Gunther's Frank. I want to say Danny is Sweet D.
Okay. I mean, it fits. Sweet D.
Sweet D. We're making that merge. Mac is. I also want to say Danny.
And Danny's all four of them.
Danny's all of them, actually.
Like, who's Charlie?
Danny is all of them. Like,
This is a hard question because I don't think any of them have the personality types to really be any of them.
George is Dennis.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I can think of. George is Dennis. And let's see.
I feel like Charlie gives off Danny vibes.
The most. If we could only pick Danny for one of them, I think it would have to be Charlie.
I feel like D is more of maybe a Carlos.
Okay.
She's funny, but she's also kind of level-headed sometimes.
Sometimes. You know, I feel like Alex Albon could be Sweet D.
Okay, that's fair.
I feel like that could be him.
Okay.
And then Mac, I feel like Carlos is Mac.
Honestly, I feel like Max could be Mac.
Mm.
Just because I think that like he's so serious about himself, like he takes himself so seriously. And it's obviously part of the bit, but still.
Yeah. The only one I'm confident here in is that Gunther's Frank. Only thing I'm confident in. That's the only one.
Yeah.
Lewis is the waitress. Lewis is like, please don't speak to me.
Don't speak to
Please
me. I
don't get
want
near
none
me.
of this.
I don't want to be involved.
That's him always.
I don't want to be involved. That is 100% Lewis. Okay. That was not very successful because
Yeah, this was hard.
no one in F1 is funny enough to be a part of the gang.
Well,
That's
we've
for
learned
sure.
here today.
Is that no one's funny.
No
and
one.
there could never be a comedy show about F1.
So I think they need to step it up because you guys really need to step up your personalities.
Get better personalities and then we'll talk.
Okay. Yuki Monster Trucks.
Yuki and Max
win.
Monster Trucks. So is Yuki kind of the best?
Yes.
Here's the question.
Yeah. Put him in a Red
I
Bull
feel
car.
like
Let's
Yuki
see what he
just
can
keeps
do.
winning. He beat Danny at the boats.
Here's my prediction. Next year, Yuki and Max, Checo and Danny.
Yuki and Max would be such a chaotic team. That would be so entertaining.
I would love to see Yuki starting on the front lines and just absolutely
giving not one single fuck.
Absolutely plowing through the field in that Red Bull car.
Yeah. I would love it.
So that's my prediction. I'm predicting because also
mark it down.
With the astrology, we did say that second half of the year, like after May and June, Yuki was really going to start hitting his stride. And I feel like
he's doing it.
He has. He's really been.
I agree with that.
He won the monster trucks. He's been being praised by the Red Bull team for being like a really strong driver and doing what he can with AlphaTauri.
The best.
Yeah. So
it could happen. Mark that down. Write that down.
Write that down. I'm writing it down. Everyone, come back.
Come back here
during silly season and let's see.
You heard it here first.
There was also in other F1 content this week. There was Never Have I Ever Part 2.
Okay, I didn't watch it.
That came out.
Tell me about it. Tell me what happened.
There weren't too many highlights. Obviously, after the tripod fiasco,
nothing can compare.
How can you really?
Nothing can compare to Never Have I Ever Had an Embarrassing Nickname. I have. It's tripod. Just.
So one of the questions was, never have I ever cried at a movie? And there were a handful of people saying, I have never. And I find that hard to believe.
Ugh, but men.
Charles says he's never cried.
What?
But there was also...
Never cried in general?
No, at a movie.
Oh, at a movie.
And there was a huge theme of most of the drivers saying they cried during Marley and Me.
Oh my god, that's not what I would.
I know.
I'm surprised that they've all seen Marley and Me.
But do you want to take a guess at what movie K-Mag said he cried at?
The Art of Racing in the Rain.
No, that one is so fucking
That one is so sad.
That one is so fucking sad.
That's the only thing I could think of with them because it has to do with F1 and a dog, and so I felt like maybe they would have all seen that. Tell me what he said.
The Notebook. I literally was.
That's my favorite thing that I've ever heard.
Like,
actually.
Yeah, I cried at the Notebook, and I was like, okay, K-Mag.
Would love to circle back on that. Would love to circle back on that. What's the most embarrassing movie that you've ever cried at?
That's really tough to say because I cry at everything.
That's true. Me too.
I cry at commercials.
Yeah.
I cry at TikToks. I'm just an emotional person.
What's the movie you think you've cried hardest at?
I cried really hard at Soul.
Oh, okay.
Don't fuck me up. But I cry whenever I need a good cry, and I you just feel it, and you're like, I want to cry. Whenever I need that, I watch About Time.
Yeah,
the one with Rachel McAdams and what's his name from Harry Potter, one of the Weasley brothers. Not Fred, the older one.
What?
About Time, where he goes back in time. He's a time traveler.
One of the Weasley brothers. I have not seen this.
You've never seen About Time?
No. And now I'm scared because I don't want to cry. 1 second, I'm Googling this. A Weasley brother.
He's the one who's a dragon guy and he's married to Fleur.
Really? Bill?
Yes.
Incredible. I've never seen this.
Oh my god. Okay, I know what we're doing.
No.
This movie is incredible.
Him? Looks very different. The movie I've cried the hardest at, you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell my answer too.
I figured you would.
Armageddon. That's like my go-to cry movie. And it's not even because it's like that sad. Like it is really sad at the end, but I just remember vividly the first time I saw this movie was I was in like middle school or
Mm.
something, and my parents were sitting down to watch a movie, and
Oh,
they were
you told
like,
me this story.
"Do you want to watch a movie with us?" And I was like, "What's it about?" And they're like, "It's really funny. It's a really funny movie." And I was like, "Okay, I guess. I love a funny movie. I love a comedy." And so I sat down to watch this movie, and like, yeah, there's a lot of comedians in it, so it's like generally like relatively funny at the beginning. This movie ends in the saddest fucking way of all time, and I was sobbing. Just I think it's just I wasn't prepared,
Yeah.
and I had a blanket wrapped around my head, sobbing, screaming at my parents, "You told me this was funny. You told me this was funny," and I was sobbing, like retching, and it was so horrible. And I was literally still profusely crying like 30 minutes after the movie had ended. It ruined me. So now, if I ever want to cry, that's the movie I put on because it just like it gets me every single time.
Interesting.
I also once went to see The Time Traveler's Wife. So time travel, big crying theme for
About
us.
time is worse.
Time Traveler's Wife I went to see in the movie theater with my friend, and she left me in the movie theater, switched seats to go like a couple rows behind me in the
Because you
middle
were
because I
so
was crying
embarrassing.
so loud. She did not want people to think that she was with me. She
That
was
happened.
like,
That happened to me and Carly. We went to go see Fault in Our Stars,
mm,
and we went with our moms, and we were crying before the movie even started, and they were like, "You guys are so embarrassing." We were just like, "We know what's gonna happen."
oh my god. I watched that movie with my dad and my brother once. My mom was gone. We were watching a movie. I was like, let's watch The Fault in Our Stars.
It's a funny movie. You'll
We
laugh.
were crying so hard. Me and David were literally like hugging each other, just like sobbing into each other's shoulders. My dad's in his chair with a blanket on, sobbing and just wiping his eyes. Like, and David and I have never embraced like this, but it was like we were so sad. We like needed like physical contact with someone to be like, it's okay. We were just like hugging each other, just sobbing.
I feel as if these F1 drivers who said that they did not cry at movies have just not
Never seen
opened
movies.
themselves up to the type of vulnerability that movies can like really give you. Like they've never seen good film.
Like that was probably the only movie that I've seen my dad cry at that was like a legitimate reason to cry. My dad never cries, like never cries about anything. He's becoming more emotional as he
Mm-hmm.
gets more into his older age. However, he used to never cry, and the first and only time I ever saw him cry until I was probably like until probably we watched Fall in Our Stars was when we were watching Cheaper by the Dozen and the little redhead kid's frog died.
That I mean, that's sad.
I was like, Dad, this is the only time I've ever seen you cry. We went to her dad's funeral. We've been to funerals. There's like lots of things that have happened in life. We've seen sadder movies, and like that was the
This
one
is
thing that got him. Can't explain it. And that's how I feel about the F1 drivers. Maybe they need to try Cheaper by the Dozen. It's a gateway. It's a gateway drug to crying in
once
movies,
you see
apparently. Once the frog dies,
the
you're ready
floodgates
to go.
open,
It's just a can of worms after that.
I'm dead. Okay. Also, a lot of the drivers said, actually, there were a few drivers said they did, but a lot of them said, never have I ever practiced a podium celebration in the mirror. And I just have a hard time believing that that's true. I think a lot of them are lying.
They're 100% lying. Everyone practices shit like that. I've practiced a podium celebration in the mirror.
Like,
I've practiced my Oscars awards acceptance in the mirror. Like everyone practices shit like that. They're lying.
they're lying. And I hope you feel bad about lying on camera.
Karma will come back to get
Karma
you
will
someday.
come for you. And a video is gonna come out. It's gonna leak of you in your mirror practicing your podium celebration.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna Lizzie McGuire movie them, and I'm gonna go to their house and I'm gonna put a camera on a toy truck that I'm gonna remote control into the room as they're practicing in the mirror.
For legal reasons, this is a joke. In case anything like this ever does happen,
It wasn't actually.
it wasn't Kate.
But maybe it was. You'll never
know.
because I'm gonna be so sneaky about it.
Okay, going back to thought leaders.
Real thought leaders.
Okay, I was skipping.
Oh, you were
That was going to be a different part of the agenda, but
okay. The thought leader versus thought leader is
yes,
really confusing over here. Let's go with our thoughty thoughts.
thoughty thoughts. It's been a thoughty week for F1
I feel like
drivers,
they had like an internal competition, like in their group chat. Like they were like, let's see who can cause the most discourse on the internet.
and boy,
Did they ever?
they
Who do
succeeded.
you think did cause the most?
Botaz. I feel
Yeah.
like whenever he posts a naked photo, it's just like people are gonna talk.
I'm just. Is it bad that I'm feeling desensitized to his
I'm,
naked butt at this point?
it's
Like,
just kind of like, yeah, I've seen
it's just
it.
par for the course. Like,
Now, if
I
like
just know
Lewis were to post a
if
full ass shot, like that
If
would
Lewis ever break the internet,
speaking of
similar to his future
wife,
mistress,
his wife, his
future
wife.
wife Kim Kardashian.
Um, but I think secondly would have to be Carlos.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think just him being single now. It's just
He
the
is
eyeballs are
putting
on
front
him.
and he's putting it front and center,
The eyeballs are on him. And so anytime he does anything a little bit
which people
sexual.
were like, "Oh, did you notice that Carlos posted black and white photos, and then Issa immediately posted a photo set that was said like in full color."
I'm
We're like,
loving
the
the
people are
petty.
thinking, the people are thinking things.
There are thoughts being thunk.
Thoughts?
Being thunk. For
The
sure.
thoughties.
The thoughties are thinking thoughts, and Lily is thinking thoughts in her thought leadership. There's
Exactly.
thoughts everywhere.
You've always said
A thought
that.
is a thought, is a thought, has a thought.
But I'm really not over Carlos yet because
No.
the audacity of him to post that hand photo
Yeah.
when he
That one was,
knows,
he knows.
he knows. And then in his don't blink, when
Yeah.
they literally opened
With him moaning as he gets into the ice bath.
like, you're sick.
You're sick for
You're
that.
sick. Jail.
Like, go to
Straight to
prison.
jail.
Go to prison.
Prison time. Abolish the prison system, but jail for Carlos.
Leave it open only for him.
He needs to go to horny jail. Him and Pierre in horny jail immediately.
Pierre has like residency.
Pierre's
in
the
horny jail.
warden. Pierre's the warden of horny jail. Horny on Main. Everyone's being horny on Main.
And Pierre's like, glad you guys finally caught up. Where's Charles at? That's
Yeah,
what I'd like to know.
Charles, please
Step up.
enter the competition.
Please, I personally am begging you. Also, Lewis has literally never looked better.
You and I literally were like,
I gasped. He looked so hot. And here's the thing: is that you showed me that photo after we got out of hot Pilates,
yeah.
and you were like, "Look at this photo," and I was like, "As if I couldn't get any hotter right now. I'm so warm." And you showed me that, and I almost actually combusted.
And then he tried to play it off casual, like sometimes I fall off. Bruh,
Bitch, you know what
do
you're
not
doing.
fall off. You
And
are always looking hot.
And you know what you're doing. You're not posting this to post an inspirational caption. You're posting this because you look fucking good. And just own it. Sometimes I wish that they would just post a photo of themselves looking hot and being like, I look good here. Felt hot. Might delete later.
I think everyone posts though because they know they look good.
Yeah.
I'm never posting a photo to be like, hee, I actually don't think I look good here. No, I look fucking hot, and I want everyone to leave comments under this photo and say, you look amazing.
Or I would like someone to repost that photo on a page and sexualize me.
I
Tell
would
me that I look incredible and that they think that I'm the hottest person alive.
No, I don't think that you want to be sexualized. I think you want to be appreciated.
I want to be sexualized in the way that they think that people seem to think what sexualizing is.
So you want to be sexualized in the way that we sexualize the drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not actually sexualizing.
That's the thing, is
appreciating sexuality.
That's the thing, is that we would be comfortable with someone talking about us in the way that we talk about other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Unless you are speaking like that and then showing up at my house, like that's weird.
Correct.
There are boundaries.
There are boundaries.
And there are nuances.
Nuance is a very important.
But let's get into it. We got a lot. We've got things.
We do have a lot of things to say. Thoughts.
Segueing into real thought leadership.
Some may say we have thoughts, and this is real thought leadership.
Thoughts from these thoughts.
So I'm sure everyone listening has subscribed to Engine Failure by Lily Herman.
So.
We would freaking hope. So if you haven't, I don't really know what you're doing, but it's maybe one of the best, if not the best, F1 culture newsletters out there.
It is the best. It's not one of, there's no contention.
People have tried to come for Lily's crown, and they will never succeed.
Yeah.
Because she was the first, and she's still the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she posted in her newsletter this week. Again, it's engine failure.
Which we briefly brought up a little bit when we were talking to Michaela from Sheila's
Yes,
F1.
because we knew
Lily's
that it
been
was
working
coming.
on this for a while.
Lily's been working on this for like months at
Mhm.
this point, and she finally put a bow on it and sent it out into the
Ether.
And my God, did she hit the nail on the freaking head?
Home fucking run.
Home run. So Lily did a full piece on, in quotation marks, the sexualization of F1 drivers
Mhm.
and what this means, what people are really doing, why it's such a problem right now,
Yep.
and why it's not actually what people think it is.
100%.
And I know that you rebrushed up on this today, Nicole, so I feel like you might have some immediate thoughts to share.
Yeah, I just, when I was reading it, I was just like, one, I texted Lily and I said, thank you for being smarter than me and better with words and
Literally.
putting this into
Yeah.
a format that is everything that
Yes.
I've wanted to say but have not been able to vocalize.
Yes.
And for being like so nuanced about it, because I think that's the biggest part, and Lily brings this up too, where it's like people are not having these arguments in good faith or understanding the nuance of the conversation and the context in which this quote unquote sexualization is happening. And obviously Kate and I have talked about this before. You all know we get shit on all of the time for this, and it's just something that we have to deal with, but it doesn't stop us, obviously. And it's very much just like, where is this stemming from and why is this such a problem, especially now that F1 as an organization is really leaning in to
like the driver's appearances and
sex
their
sells.
Yeah.
Because and you know what, I think maybe it's just because we've blocked everyone who comes on our page and says stop sexualizing the drivers, but I feel like since F1 has and the drivers have really started to be sluttier on the internet, I think there's been a decrease in commentary towards how we behave as a fan base. And I also think it has to do with the increase in content creators who are creating this type of content as well. Like there's, we've said this before, but like back in the day when it used to be just us, like we were prime subjects, prime targets we had vitriol on the internet from men and some women who just thought that we were not real fans and how we behaved. But obviously now it's grown so much, and women have now dug out and carved out a space for themselves.
Yeah.
And
it's become more and more saturated with this conversation that it's no longer like the huge minority.
Right.
And like this is not like a minority opinion where we're a target when we were the only page talking like this. And now there's so many other podcasts and fan pages and communities that speak like this and have these conversations that it's harder to call it out as not being the norm, because it is so much of a norm to a large chunk of
representation matters, bitch.
Representation matters. But I think that like also what I love that Lily said is like, where is this coming from? And it's this false well-meaning of people, and like they are saying we mean well, and like we're just looking out for the drivers, and like it never used to be like this, and this is such a problem, and it's just all talk, and it's just all excuses to be able to,
but it's also not
down.
true either.
It's also not true, and it's just an excuse to put people down and be able to attack them for something, because you are able to in your brain put them on basically put yourself on a fake pedestal that you are so much better because you don't
you would never look at a human being and think how hot they were. God
you
forbid.
would never look at someone and be like, wow, they look hot. Like
you
never.
Would never look at someone and say, wow, I'm sure they're such a nice person, I am attracted to them. You would never do that.
And it's just like, first of all, this has always happened throughout all of history.
Also, like Lily said, and we had Lily and Elizabeth on our Twitch last year where we went over the best outfits of this F1 in the 70s. And let me tell you, those men were sluts.
They were slutty men.
Were sluts.
And I guarantee people thought they were hot back in the day.
And you know what? I'm sure there were girls throwing themselves at them all over town. It just wasn't on social media, so you just didn't see it.
You didn't hear about it as much. Like, I think it's it's this like fake moral high ground
Yeah.
that is just like so annoying. And also it's so hypocritical because like we always say, the people that are in trouble for doing this are women speaking this way. And there are now so many men
Mm-hmm.
in the space
Mm-hmm.
that decided I'm going to be crazy and I'm going to be controversial and like I'm going to speak in this way that is going to like cause controversy, but it's going to make me sound cool and funny and speak in the same way. Like there was the whole thing on Dax Shepard's
Mm-hmm.
podcast where he was talking about like basically who had the biggest dick
Mm-hmm.
and who would be the best in bed.
Yep.
And no one is upset about that. No one's like, wow, I can't believe you would speak about the drivers like that. Have we ever on this podcast or on our Instagram talked about them like that? Like they were literally just an object with a penis.
No,
No.
never.
We've always said they have good abs and they look beautiful.
And we post photos that they post themselves, and right, this is the biggest
Like
thing.
I don't think that we've ever ranked them by dick size.
Unless Kate is Lizzie McGuiring into their home
just to see.
just to see.
But it's just and it's something that really bothers me because we've had personal experience. It's just that they're starting to see that this conversation gets attention,
mm-hmm.
and they're like, what if we co-opted this language and started using it as our own, where we've literally had people on our podcast
Mm-hmm.
that have come on and
ridiculed us,
yelled at us to our faces
on our own fucking podcast,
telling us
we are not serious fans because we like the drivers and we care about who their personalities do outside of the track,
and we care about their girlfriends, and we care about anything other than their racing skills. And we think like people who have just absolutely mercilessly mocked us for how we are
our fans.
And then what do you know? The content that's happening in that same space today on their platform, all about wags and gossip and rumors and drama and like all the same things that we were mocked for. And it's just like, okay, I'm glad you're seeing success in that. Wonder where you got that idea.
I'm just tired because women are always at the forefront of creating content that becomes popular, and yet we are never taken serious.
And everyone, and as soon as a man does the same exact content, will absolutely be applauded for it.
It's just astounding to me how we have seen this play out in real time in our own community, where it's just like, my God, it is so upsetting to have been publicly shamed and publicly mocked for how we are as fans, only to now see this become popular culture in the fandom.
Yeah.
And yet still not really get the recognition for kind of driving this conversation.
Yeah. It's, you know what? Our fangirl culture is not your costume.
It's not your costume.
And you don't get to just take what we have created and run with it. And
life is unfair, and I get that, but it's also like so fucking annoying. Like I'm so annoyed.
Yeah.
And Kate and I try to be very positive and not be negative about things, but it's just like sometimes
you just gotta.
It's just frustrating to know that we are still even looked down upon because of how we talk about the sport, and yet there are so many men out there who have podcasts who talk about it in the way we do and still see no pushback on it.
Yeah.
And that's on sexualizing the driver.
And that's on bitching hour.
Bitching hour complete. Thanks for listening. But anyway, yeah. So like one of my favorite quotes from Lily in this, where she said, "Personally, I believe these kinds of folks will always aim to make women out to be inferior fans no matter what they do. If the issue isn't sexualizing drivers, they use something else that's wildly contradictory, downright silly and intellectually dishonest to pick apart how these women consume and experience things they enjoy." And I just thought that was like so accurate, not just entirely for Formula One, but across the spectrum, right? And Lily, I know you're probably listening to this, so I love you. Thank you so much for the work that you do in the culture F1 space, because it really makes a difference.
It really does. Thanks, Lo. Anyways, moving on to things that make us less mad.
We need to talk about the fact that I'm kind of obsessed with Lando giving one of the Cardinals players because, if in case you didn't know, McLaren and was at the Major League Baseball game in London this past week,
Okay.
because MLB is trying to branch out
Mm-hmm.
into other countries. Right, we've seen also with the NFL.
Yep.
NFL games being played in London, so MLB is right on track for that. And so it was the Cardinals versus the Cubs, Chicago Cubs, and there was
Huge for you.
huge for me. And there was a video of Lando literally giving one of the baseball players
The full up down.
the full up down, and I was just like, that's a little gay, but I loved it. It was very much like we posted the video on our story, but he literally is chewing gum. Like,
It was,
he was
the
giving,
most sexual thing I've ever seen. Talk about
book talk.
sexualizing anything. That was the only thing was sexualizing that man with his
arms
eyes.
are crossed. There's a glint in his eye. He's chewing gum, and he's giving this man the full up down.
Like head to toe, back up to the head, back down to toes, back up to the head.
It was incredible, and you know what? He was hot, so you know what, Lando, I
taste.
approve of
Good
that.
taste.
But that was like one of the funniest moments this week. I was like, "Oh, Lando, okay,
Lando
I see
appreciates a
you."
good-looking man just like we do.
Just like we do.
And I respect him for that.
My other question is, does George have a foot fetish?
Yes, but only for his own feet.
Yeah. No, he likes when people are looking at his feet, similar to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is always posting her feet in TikToks and in photos, and George is doing the same thing. He has a full wiki feet.
He has a full wiki feet of his feet. He just needs to stop giving them away for free, George. If you want people to look at them, like, at least sell them.
Literally. But I think it's his kink. I think he gets a kick out of it. Not
a kink out. He gets a kink out.
Well, I was gonna say kick because it's his foot fetish. I mean, just like, I think he really just, like, his feet are in every single one of his Instagram posts.
A kink of foot.
I'm like, George, put the dogs away. I don't want to see them.
That's what when he says I've got that dog in me, that's what he means.
Oh, I hate it, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
He has a foot fetish, but not in the sense of like he likes other people's feet. 100%. He likes them to see his. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
For sure.
And also on George, he did a lie detector test with Sky Sports as well. And let me tell you, Sky really chose the two most boring people to do a lie detector test with right out of the gates.
Like, it doesn't make me want to watch any others because Lewis was so boring. He wouldn't even have fun with the onion question.
And George was just like, okay, George was me whenever you ask me hypothetical questions. When you're like, no, you have to choose this or that. And I'm like, well, what about this scenario? George was like, well, no, but also sometimes yes, because in this situation, I may have done it, but I can't remember. But it seems like maybe something I would do. And you're just like, George, yes or no questions. That's it.
Yeah, taste your own medicine.
I know. I'm so sorry for anyone who's ever had to listen to me.
My God.
Act that way. I'm really sorry. This is my public apology.
Like, people listen to those and they're like, Nicole, pick a damn answer.
Just a damn answer.
I'm gonna remind you of that next time. Be like, don't be like George. Don't pull a George.
Yeah, just tell me I'm being Georgian.
You're giving huge George energy.
Don't want that. Don't look at my feet and don't be fucking boring.
I'm dead. Okay, we already talked about Helmut Marko. Talking about Nick DeVries. I want to talk about Esteban and Mick on a little BFF vacation. Please. Like, I'm obsessed. We haven't seen them together in a while, but like, I feel like for a long time they were like the on-track besties, and like they would go on like double dates with their girlfriends, and usually Lance was there. So like,
that's what I'm saying. What's going on with Lance now? Is he out? Is he out of the threesome? We haven't seen him in a while.
We actually really haven't. He hasn't done a lot.
Because Mick and Esteban went to Disneyland Paris together, and Lance was also not there.
Right.
So who are Lance's friends?
I don't know.
Has he burned off his bridges? What's going on?
I don't know. I need to know. I need to check on him. I need to check on him. I got a Lizzie McGuire my way into his house to make sure Lance is okay.
I said that this was going to be a redemption year, and you need to be hanging out with Mick and Esteban.
Okay, but this vacation that they went on was so cute, and someone was in our DM, and they said they put it so accurately. They're like, it's giving. I've already paid for this vacation, and now we broke up, and so I'm still gonna go on it and have a better time with my best friend. And I was like, that is absolutely what this is giving.
It was
Esteban paid for this trip for him and Elena, and then he and Elena broke up, and he was like, "All right, Mick, do you want to come with me?"
no, I was thinking it was Mick because Mick is the one who's like, it seems like Esteban is forcing Mick to take photos. And so Esteban's playing the role of like trying to be your best friend to cheer you up. And Mick is just kind of like,
No, I
there.
think it's the other way around. Because I think Esmond has planned this trip, so he's obviously super excited about it. And he made me go, and he's like, come on, let's take a photo here." Like, I'm so psyched. I planned this so long ago. I worked so hard on this. And Meg's like, okay, I guess I'll take
Them
the
in their
pic.
little car.
Like,
Also, Mick looking like a middle-aged lesbian. I
the straw hats were a choice by
mean,
them.
we love a straw hat.
We do love a straw hat.
Should I add them? Should I add Mick to our photo collection where we have Issa and Carlos in with us with the straw hats? Done.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to. You have to. That's literally incredible.
I loved their little bestie trip. Do we know where they were? Do we know the location of the trip?
I don't remember. I don't know if they tagged it. But I loved it. I think I mean, I can't wait for us to go on our little BFF vacation in Italy.
Which is similar to that sentiment where I've already paid for this trip and now my best friend is going with me. It's just we're running it back.
I was like, it's just 4 years later.
Just 4 years later. Having the trip that I deserve, you know.
Having the trip you deserve, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Toto's home race this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes is just posting fucking photo dumps of Toto looking hot, which is incredible for us.
Huge.
Thank you
Huge
to
win
them.
for the girls.
Thank you to them for understanding what we want. And then he's also quoted as saying that F1 teams are missing out because he is praising the reserve driver's impact, which is Mick.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been using Mick a lot in promotions, and it's been really working for them.
No, but he's also saying that other teams are missing out by not hiring Mick.
Oh,
they're not hiring Mick because he's like, Mick's fucking amazing, and they're missing out by not hiring him as a full-time driver. And
that's so true.
That's just us to sponsors. You guys are missing out by not choosing us.
You guys are missing out by not appreciating us and what we can bring to the table for you and your brand. Consider this a PSA. We're going to Italy and we want you to sponsor us. We can do really fun things. We're really funny and cool.
A plethora of ideas. But yeah, Toto's basically like singing high praises for Mick, and he's just like, all these other bum ass teams are fucking losers because they won't hire Mick as a full-time driver. Meanwhile, he could kick George to the curb and hire Mick if he wanted to.
No, but he's George's manager.
True. But I think he's also Mick's manager.
No, I think he's just kind of his mentor. I don't think he's his manager. But yeah, he would be losing money if he kicked George off because he, as his manager, makes some money off of him being there.
He just writes that paycheck and just comes right back.
That's why George gets such a fucking sweet deal at Mercedes because Toto's like, yeah, I'm making this money too. He negotiated. That
feels like nepotism.
He negotiated with himself for George's contract.
That feels like a nepotism, a little nepotism, or like some breach.
Yeah, I don't actually know
fiduciary duty. I just
breach a fiduciary duty.
I'm a CFO now.
Who are you? Oh my god!
It's giving.
She's learning words.
She's got a robust vocabulary.
What kind of books have you been reading lately, Nicole, that are teaching you these words?
Certainly not the ritual. Certainly not. Did you hear the news about Carlos threatening to quit Ferrari?
No.
So he's been threatening to walk away from Ferrari if he does not have a contract extension by the start of 2024 season. He's basically like, I am sick and tired of going into my final season and not having an extension.
Yeah.
And so if by the time, like, he's like, I'm not going to be yanked around by Ferrari. He's like, the team's not even that fucking good. And so if they don't re-sign me, like, I'm going to look elsewhere.
So here's a thought, though. Is he planting the seed because there's rumors that he's getting replaced anyways, and so is he planting the seed that if he doesn't come back, it was his choice to leave,
Ooh,
and so then he doesn't look like he got fired. It looks like he quit.
that's a good theory.
You should start using that theory for yourself.
Well, it's fine. Just like that TikTok, can you explain this gap in your resume? No, I cannot. I signed an NDA.
Exactly.
So no. Yeah, actually, I didn't get fired. I quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been telling people I'm on a sabbatical anyway. I willingly left and I just needed some time off.
We have been working far too hard for far too long.
I deserved some time.
You haven't had a minute to breathe to yourself in too long.
Yeah.
Almost a full year.
Actually, it was a full year. Just over a full year.
And that was too long.
It was
1 year is a long
exactly
time.
13 months, actually. Thanks to the day.
True, you did get your little drawing.
We did get my little drawing, and then they said, you get your little drawing and it's time to go, bitch.
Your 7 packages, your little drawing. Here's a gift, a parting gift.
Oh, God.
Anyways, let's talk about some ladies.
Let's go. It's the girls' room. I did the girls' room this week.
It's the girls' room.
Okay, we crushed it that time.
Yeah, we actually really did. That was
We're
really
getting good. So I'm going to tell Kate a little bit about the girls' room this week because she knows nothing.
Okay.
It's my time to shine. So first things first, speaking of Carlos quitting.
Tell me.
And walking away from things. Obviously, we know Carlos and Isa no more. However, Carlos has been spotted with another woman.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a video taken of him in Milan with a woman following him. Oh, they were like walking, not following like creepily, like they were obviously together. She was just kind of trailing him.
A woman was following him. It was a mechanical car. Being remote control to the video camera on top.
Kate built a robot actually to trick Carlos into falling in love with this robot. But so we have some news on her. I've done my due diligence on her. Her name is Rebecca Donaldson. She's a Scottish model. She is either 27 or 28 years old. I don't know when her birthday is, but she's age appropriate for Carlos, which I love.
We do love that. You know what? He continues to find age appropriate people because Issa was age appropriate for him. Like he loves an age appropriate girl. He's like, I'm not messing around with these young ones.
Yeah. So so +1 on that, Carlos. Minus 9,000 because it's not Issa, but that's fine. Yeah. Fun fact about Rebecca, you know who her ex-boyfriend is? Scott Disick.
And that's so embarrassing for her, to be honest. But you leveled up so hard.
It's incredible to me that you go from Scott Disick to Carlos Sainz. You know what?
How do you even know about these two people? And I feel like, how do you know about them?
What it is? And then I think, what is that movie with? Who is that comedian? It was the guy. The premise of the movie is he's basically the guy, and every time a girl breaks up with him, they find their husband. Good luck, Chuck.
Good luck, Chuck.
Okay, and I feel like maybe that's Scott Disick.
That is 100% Scott Disick.
Scott Disick is Good Luck, Chuck, because we had Kourtney Kardashian, Travis Scott.
Yep.
We had Sophia Richie.
Not Travis Scott.
Sorry. Travis Barker. Sorry. Another Kardashian dating Travis Scott. And then
not anymore because now she's dating Timothée Chalamet.
Oh, true. Her baby daddy still.
Travis Scott.
Then we had Sophia Richie.
Yep.
Now she's married to Ethan. What's his name?
Grange. Because her name is now Sophia Richie Grange.
Eli. And then we've got Rebecca, who's now moved on to Carlos. So do we hear wedding bells?
I hope not, because I'm still holding out hope. Okay, here's the thing, is Issa's my Eleanor.
She is your Eleanor.
Because you know this, I am an Eleanor stan. Louis and Eleanor from One Direction. They were my number one, and OTP. I will never approve of any other woman that Louis is ever with, because I loved Eleanor so much. I felt like that with Liam and Sophia.
Yeah,
I was the big Sophia stan.
Really, I was a big Danielle fan.
Yeah, I didn't like her. She was too old. Fair. I didn't like that vibe.
Fair. Too old. She was like 6 years older. Meanwhile, then he went on to fuck Cheryl Cole or whatever the fuck her name is.
But I was a big Sophia, and I feel like Issa is my Eleanor.
Okay.
And I'll never totally approve of Carlos with anyone else
Yeah.
because I just love them together.
That's fair.
Carlisa.
Also about Rebecca, she's a founder and entrepreneur, so we can relate.
Love that, though.
She started an activewear clothing line during the pandemic.
Okay.
And she, quote, she stated that it's been difficult pushing her brand out into the market as the influencers she reached out to didn't value her clothes the same way that she did. Now, Rebecca,
What does that mean?
I have a pitch for you.
Some girls that just doing hot yoga.
Some girls who are really in their fitness
They're
era
in their fitness era.
are all looking for A, partnerships, and B, activewear to go to classes in. So, Rebecca, if you're listening,
I will promote you to be my Eleanor.
we'll promote you up the ranks as being Carlos's OTP. Just reach out.
Hit us up. Slide into our DMs.
We're reachable anytime,
our
any
emails
place.
in our bio.
But that's all you need to know about Rebecca. That's all I can really find. She's kind of a private girly. Her Instagram is most of her modeling pics, some travel stuff. She seems very down to earth.
Here's the issue that I'm having currently with the fandom as a whole, is that their go-to rumor to start an F1 driver starts being seen with a girl, and everyone's like, she used to be an escort.
She's an escort.
She's an escort.
Guys, where are we getting these rumors from?
Not everyone is an escort, and like it's bizarre to me that that's become the norm. That's become like the go-to.
I think they said it about Charlotte. They've said it about Alex, and
I
now
don't think they ever said about Charlotte. She was literally like 18 when they started dating.
Okay, and now they're saying it about Rebecca. And I'm sorry, guys. Why are we so anti-sex work? You're telling on yourself.
Yes.
And two, why is that why is that an insult? But also, why?
Like, I just am confused that like that is the go-to. Like, it just feels so out of the blue. I don't know.
But enough, guys. She's not an escort, and even if she was, good for her.
I just think it's kind of funny that that's become a theme. Like, it just feels very out of the blue. But I do want to talk about this next bullet, which is Pierre and Kika packing on the PDA.
Packing on the PDA.
In Just Jared. First of all, is this Just Jared's Renaissance era? I haven't heard Just Jared in so long, and now they're like stalking Pierre and Kika.
Like, what's going on? Do you think that Pierre and Kika call the paparazzi on themselves?
Probably.
I think so too.
I mean, people have relationships with these different outlets, and I think especially because Kika's a model.
Yeah.
It's probably her modeling agency that has a relationship with Just Jared to tell them where they're at. I mean, it's similar like Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly has more photos out. She was like at a Chanel show in Paris or something, and like she has paparazzi photos. And I was like, Kelly, it was just Paris Fashion Week. You were not the most famous person there. I know that they're not like seeking you out. Bizarre, absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, I just think that his PR team is really working overtime.
Yeah.
On him and Kika's relationship to really be, I think because we lost Charles and Charlotte.
Yep.
And Carlos and Issa, and I think those were kind of two of the biggest,
most talked about
couples.
Yeah.
And they're like, Pierre's PR team said, we see an opening
to be the couple of the F1 grid.
And so they took it. And Just Jared is on the beat.
The Tiger Beat.
The Tiger Beat. They're there. They're front and center. The pictures were fine.
They also, like, I feel like they're just more open to it because, like, they went to the Coldplay concert, and I was like, is Charles so pissed that Pierre didn't bring him?
I know, his bestie.
Like, didn't bring him to his favorite band. But, like, the videos from them there were really cute. I just think they're, like, a very fun little couple, and, like, you can tell that they're just having a good time together.
She keeps him young. We said this before.
Keeps him young.
As a 20-year-old, she keeps him young.
She keeps him young, for sure.
I also have thoughts about Pierre's outfit at the Coldplay concert. It was from a brand called Cuddle Me, and I was looking at their Instagram, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? And it was like,
Cuddle Me Harder.
It was like, fuck nudes, send me your Spotify playlist. And I'm like, okay, Gen Z wants to talk about how cringe millennials are. That is some embarrassing ass fucking shit to be wearing. I'm sorry. And I'm sure those shirts cost like $500.
Probably.
I'm sick. I'm sick. Anyway, I just had some thoughts on Cuddle Me Harder. I'm like, okay, I guess I don't get it.
You're not hip enough.
Not hip enough.
And before we get to this last bullet, because this last bullet is one that we got to talk about. But before we do that, we do have news. Everyone mark your calendars for July 14th, Friday, July 14th, for Chloe Stroll's new
Oh, fuck
single.
yeah.
Chloe Stroll's new single's dropping, and she did have a question box on her Instagram. Ask her anything about her music, and I did slide in and say,
We,
Chloe, will you be on our podcast to talk about your new single? She did not answer, but I will be following up. Chloe, if you're listening, please come join the girls' room. We'll have a full episode just dedicated to you and talking about your
well,
musical ventures.
it's been Chloe's room before, so
It
we're
has been
obsessed with
Chloe's
you.
room before, and the people, we the people,
We,
we the people
we,
need to hear about
yeah.
it. So please come on our podcast. This has been a PSA. And then the
Pussy
last
PSA.
thing in the girls' room is wellness check on Sir Lewis Hamilton,
Well, Miss Motherfucking Chat.
because his ex girl, Nicole
Love of his
Scherzinger,
life.
is officially engaged.
Engaged. Wedding bells are ringing for Nicole Scherzinger.
And I am just really sorry for Lewis. Don't worry, Kim is available still. I called her people and she's into it. I've been talking to Chris. She's into it.
So for anyone who doesn't know, if this is your first time hearing about this, Lewis Hamilton and Nicole Scherzinger used to date for a while back in like the mid 2000s.
Back in her
Like
big Pussycat Dolls days.
big Pussycat Dolls, like
right after.
Knots keep
Like
biting.
when One Direction was getting put together.
We've talked about this before.
Lewis
She's
was
responsible.
probably the first one to know about
people being on our podcast and shitting on us. That was the same episode that we talked about that. It all comes back. It's all a flat fucking circle. So Nicole Scherzinger is responsible for putting One Direction together. We think that obviously Lewis was one of the first people to hear about it. Huge news. And they broke up, unfortunately, because he just couldn't dedicate the time.
He loves
to
his
her.
cars.
She wanted a family, and like
he just wanted his cars.
He just wanted, to be a world champion. And so they unfortunately broke up, and he has said several times that she was like the greatest love of his life and he misses her, and like it's very sad. So I hope
she was the one that got away.
Yeah, I hope that Lewis
XNDA album is also coming out most likely.
Him and Drake are working on something special.
Going back to did we ever talk about this back when Dumois was saying that there was an F1 driver that was making people sign NDAs? Did we ever discuss that it's definitely Lewis because his name is XNDA?
No, we didn't talk about that, but that's a good. And that also makes sense why him and Kim would be perfect, because every time you enter the Kardashian household, you have to sign. They have a stack of NDAs sitting in their entryway.
So, oh my God, they'd be perfect. And that's why we haven't heard anything. They're actually dating, and we haven't heard it because they both signed NDAs, and that's why they can't explain the gap on their love resume. It's because they're together and they signed an NDA.
Exactly. It's all making sense.
The dots are being connected. I'm the Charlie Day.
Kate's a missing piece. Yeah, so wellness check on Lewis. I hope he's being surrounded by family and friends during this hard time. Maybe he knew that Nicole had gotten engaged, and that's why he posted that thirst trap.
Probably.
Because he was like, maybe she called him.
I wonder if she gave him a heads up.
Yeah.
I wonder if he still texts her. It was like, I still miss
it's
you.
Giving Richie from The Bear when his ex-wife is like, I want you to hear from me. I'm engaged. Maybe she told him, and
maybe she was like, and maybe he was like, but I got Taylor Swift tickets and I got one for you.
I would love that.
Oh, but also another girl that could be entering the girls' room is Taylor Swift.
Sorry, what? Do we have another room?
Surprise! No, it's just because she's BFF with Ryan Reynolds, who is now going to own an F1 team. So do we think Taylor?
So true.
So do we think Taylor is going to like be?
She actually had him buy steak so that she could actually meet Alonso, so that they could actually date.
Exactly. And I'm just like, do we think that Taylor is going to come to a race at some point to support her pal Ryan, because Ryan has been to a bunch of her concerts?
Yeah, so true. Do we think Taylor would like to be an Alpine fan, though?
Yeah, who do we think Taylor would be a fan of? I think she'd be classic Ferrari, to be honest. Or I think Lewis. Like, I feel like she probably has met Lewis before.
They have met.
So I think that she would probably just be like, she'd be like every other celebrity that's like, I love Lewis Hamilton. Because Lewis is the only celebrity on the ground.
Yeah, I think that she'd also I think she'd like to root for an underdog, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's going to be loyal to Ryan, so I feel like she
So true. Yeah.
would do Alpine. But could be interesting because she has performed at F1 before. She performed in
Coda,
Austin.
yeah.
So I feel like she's already familiar with the world.
hmm
I could see her at a race.
I could too. She's so busy. I mean, also maybe she lines it up. She's going to international
Yeah,
in the next couple of
exactly.
months. What if Taylor performs in Vegas? What do we have an entertainment schedule for Vegas yet? Have they announced anything?
It's from fucking Martin Garrix.
It's Martin Garrix, the chain smokers. We did see them at Miami though, so it's not really special.
It's Martin Garrix. It's the Chainsmokers. It's Tiesto.
Celine Dion.
It's
Unfortunately, she's unwell, so it won't be her.
don't bring it up. Don't put that pressure on her to perform when she's not
Celine
feeling
Dion,
well.
please get better. Manifest minute today is for
Celine Dion,
Celine
I'm your
Dion.
biggest fan. Danny DeVito, I'm your biggest fan. Okay, who on the grid has seen Mean Girls would have run up to Danny DeVito if he showed up to support Rob McElhenney and say, "Oh my God, Danny DeVito, I'm your biggest fan"? It would definitely be Danny.
Doesn't he say Danny DeVito, I love your work?
Yes, you're right.
Or Lance. I feel like Lance is probably a big It's Always Sunny fan. He feels like the right age and also in the right part of the world. Logan, I feel like
Logan has to have seen both Mean Girls to get the reference and seen.
Yeah, and I feel like Logan and Lance are probably like big It's Always Sunny fans.
Yeah.
And also it could be Danny too, because Danny is good friends with Dax and Dax's best friend is Rob.
Right.
So
crazy that Dax didn't get in on the.
Anyways, okay, on to Manifest Minute. Ending on a more positive note.
Yeah,
today.
we need some positivity.
Manifest Minute today.
Manifest Minuto.
So this is for Sophia. Sophia recently emailed us and asked if we could please manifest her passing her law school exams. She's had a very hellish year and struggled with depression, anxiety, and grief. University was a nightmare for her because of it, and her mental health is heavily impacting her ability to focus on studying. But she's fighting, and she needs all the help she can get.
Okay, we do have a good track record with helping people pass exams.
So true.
Especially in law school. So, Sophia, you came to the right people.
So true.
We are nothing if we are not law school experts here.
If everyone could please close your eyes and take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and just imagine our good friend Sophia, who has just walked out of her last law school final. She has been studying very hard. She's been up late nights, taking notes, reading books, and talking to her peers and going to study groups. And she's finding the support that she needs both through her work and her personal life. She feels good. She feels confident. She sets down her pencil. She knows that she's aced this test. She knows that she's passed her test with flying colors. She walks out, takes a deep breath in, feels the sun on her face, or maybe it's nighttime, breathes in the night air, and this is me. I'm being George. I don't really know what the situation entails. And
this is an imaginary situation, Nicole, so you can make it whatever you want it to be.
And just lets out a huge sigh of relief because she knows that she's done her best with the resources and situation that has been handed to her. And she can move forward with her life knowing that she's tried her hardest to succeed here. And I think that that's probably the biggest takeaway. But regardless, Sophia is passing. She's moving on.
You really painted the picture of her walking out of her exam. We haven't gotten to her passing yet.
Yeah, but because she did so well on her exam, she's passing, obviously. And she receives her notice a week later. She checks her grades on Blackboard.
I love when you do these about passing because you have no idea how it works, and you just make it up as if you can't just say she gets notified that she passed. You have to make it so specific.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just painting a very vivid. You know what? As someone who started Manifest Minute for us, I'm the one who knows that the more vivid you paint the picture, the more realistic the outcome.
You're so right. She's checking Blackboard.
So sorry, Sophia, that Kate has derailed your Manifest Minute. with notes on how I'm
She's
explaining.
She's checking Blackboard. She forgot her password, so she does have to hit forgot password. Goes to the email to reset. Gets a code to her phone. She's finally in. She's made it into Blackboard at long last. There's a notification. She clicks on it. It's red. It's a red. She takes a breath in to prepare herself before she clicks on the
Okay,
notification.
don't forget she also has a cup of coffee next to her, and she has to take a sip.
Getting a little cold, so before she clicks the notification,
She takes a
she
sip.
goes to the kitchen, puts it in the
Waits 30 seconds. She needs that pause before she checks her grades because she's worried about it.
She gets back. Blackboard has timed out. She has to log back in. She forgets her new password. She goes to change it again and gets the notification. New password cannot be the same as old password.
She has to call Comcast.
She has to call IT. She has to call customer service at Blackboard. Oh, that's to say she passed. And Sophia's a lawyer now.
Okay, if you could all take a deep breath out. And just go forward to this weekend in a very positive mood and a very positive mindset. Maybe, you know, have some compassion for people who tell stories a little bit longer. And write down your passwords and use a password program manager. Good luck, Sophia. I hope that is exactly what you wanted.
I'm so sorry. But in reality, everyone go for it this week knowing that the only thing that you can do in this life is your best.
Yes.
And if you're doing your best, that's all you can do.
So wise.
And that regardless of what is going on in your life, and we are obviously, as you guys all know, big advocates for mental health on this podcast. We've been there, we've been down in the dumps, we've been stressed and had anxiety and gone through grief, and it's not easy. But if you can find something to laugh about, even if it's making up Mad Libs with your friend, basically, that's always important. So if you can't find a way to make yourself laugh, go out there and try to make someone else laugh, because you never know who really needs a good little chuckle.
You could always watch Armageddon.
It's a really funny movie. Anyways,
on that
note, we really have to get out of here because that was too much even for me. We'll be back next week with an all-new episode for you.
If you can believe it.
Surprise! But until then,
we'll see you on the internet.
We'll see you on the internet.
Hi.